Chainsaw nerds.
Removing the Spark Arrestor screen can provide a good number of benefits immediately and in the future. It can give better exhaust flow, it can increase engine horsepower HP, it will run better and leaner, you no longer need to clean or worry about clogged screen. I removed the screen arrestor screen from my 372 XPS Govt and twist the exhaust hole. I now experience the horsepower has increased a bit and the SOAR run leaner than it did earlier. The main risk of removing Spark Arrestor screen is the possibility that it can start a fire. Tree surgeon Chris Ross tells that starting a fire by chainsaw sparks depends on climate and humidity. There is an internal baffle that would help with flames. So, the risk is not so high. In the USA, you cannot run a chainsaw without arrestor on state lands. Doing so will result in huge fine. If you remove it, ensure you are not in state lands. The U.S. Forest Service will fine you if they can catch you. The fine can be as much as a Stihl MS 660, around $3,000. The same goes for the modified quad too. I know a guy who was fined $6 million for starting a fire in the forest with his modified bike. In short, if the USFS, United States Forest Service, fined you, they would cite you. If you start a fire, you have to pay the bill. It can make you bankrupt in a single day. The sparks are very small and are not enough to start a fire in most cases. The possibility of starting a fire depends on the climate, which varies one location to another. If the weather is hot and dry, the chance is very high. Never try to take a chance at that moment. In Hayfork, California, nobody runs their chainsaws without arrestors. The fire danger is so high. Similarly, if you work in a fire zone like the Piney Wood Hills, you must not remove spark arrestors. On the other hand, it is very hard to start a fire in the forest in northern Ohio with a chainsaw. The climate is not in favor of fire. Even if you live in the outside USA and have no such rules and regulations, I highly suggest you not to remove it at hot and dry climate. In short, if there is a slight possibility of starting fire in the woods, don't remove the arrestors. Don't take a chance of catching the woods ablaze. In a normal climate such as in home or garden, without much humidity, there is almost no chance of starting a fire. If you think the exhaust flow is restricted too much for the spark arrestor, you can remove it. Keep in mind to add it if you go to cut in state lands later. The other risk associated with removing spark arrestors is getting crap inside the muffler/cylinder. Without the arrestors, you can experience bugs and mud daubers living inside your saw engine when you keep them in storage. Government. Lands or dry climate. What's your climate? If the humidity is high and dry, there is a high chance of fire. Obviously, it is not worth to start a big fire in the woods. Apart from these, if you are living in USA, you cannot remove it in woods and on government property. So, in short, in this case, I think you should not remove it. Damp woods/shop. If you cut in a different climate that is not fire-friendly, such as wet or damp woods or hardwoods, you can consider removing it. The same goes if you buck in the shop yard or controlled place where is no chance of starting fire. Tip: you can run the saw over gravel can for extra safety measures. Homeowner. As a homeowner, you will only cut in your home, yard or garden. Therefore, you may not worry about starting a fire as there is no such possibility. Since you will never go to be cutting on USFS land, you don't need the spark arrestor at all. However, I assume you use a small to medium duty gas saw, so removing the arrestor may not make much difference in power, but you can get rid of cleaning the arrestor screen and will never face clogged screen. Tip: most of the saws repair shops get in for service just have a clogged screen.
Subscribe to Chainsaw Nerds